The Secrets of Movies and TV Shows is brought to you by the Star Quest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give. You're listening to Coffee and Cinema, part of the Secrets of Movies and TV Shows podcast. I'm Dom Bettinelli, and I'm here with Father Chip Hines.
Hello, Dom.
Well, we're about to go... Well, actually, we just came out of the theater.
Yes, we did.
I'm reading my script here, and I'm supposed to do this before we go in, so I'm still... But we just came out of the theater after watching the new movie Shazam.
Shazam.
Wait for the lightning bolt.
Wait.
Oh, I guess I'm not Shazam.
You're not Shazam, neither am I.
So now that we're done, we've come back to Cafe Nero, where we were last time we did this, after we watched Captain Marvel. And I've got a coffee. I've got a nice Americano. You have?
I have the Cafe Au Lait, my fave.
That was good last time.
It was.
Yeah. And so we're going to have first a spoiler-free discussion, a little bit of our thoughts about the movie, our impressions.
Yep.
And then we'll give you a warning, and we'll say, from this point on, if you listen, you're going to get spoiled. So feel free to settle in. And if you haven't seen the movie yet, hear what we have to say. If you've seen the movie, stick around. And then we'll have a little more discussion of the movie. So, Father Chip, what'd you think?
You know, I think for me, and I only speak for me, it was a little hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
There were parts of it that I liked, and there were parts that there were some slow middle parts, and then once the battle scenes kind of started, you know, once the real kind of action started,
right,
it started to get a little bit better for me.
Yes.
But again, and I think I mentioned this to you before about the superhero trope.
Right.
You know, and of course Billy Batson is, you know, motherless and fatherless. Well, he has a mother and a father. They just abandoned him. Right.
Well, he lost them in the big movie, and he doesn't know where they are.
So it's just one of those things that kind of it becomes annoying after a while with all the superhero movies.
There's a common thread.
There is
superhero origin story.
Right, and I wish that someone would write a superhero about an ordinary, well-adjusted dude, you know,
or comes from a nice home.
Comes from a nice home with nice parents. They love him.
Yes,
he's doing okay.
Well, can we think of one who actually is from Flash? His dad, you know, and, his mom died.
Yeah.
We have
Wonder Woman's in Amazon.
Yeah, we've got all the X-Men. All have terrible
families.
I mean, Wolverine, who knows? And I mean, yeah, you're right. Like right down the line, you know, Superman's an orphan, Batman's an orphan,
right?
Spider-Man
is an orphan.
Is an orphan because he lives with Aunt May.
Aunt May, yeah.
So yeah.
It's just weird.
If anyone can think of any superhero who has actually
a well-adjusted family life,
well, and normal family life, not every, you know, because most families aren't perfect. So
no family's perfect.
Maybe Captain Marvel. We don't know anything about her family.
We don't know. So that's true.
But be that as it may, so Billy.
That's my impression is that there were moments of it that just felt like it fell
into a trope.
Yeah, and it was kind of typical superhero movie stuff.
Right.
There were things that I liked.
And it's a superhero origin, by the way.
It is an origin story, yes. And there were things that I liked. I liked the dynamic between the two kids.
Right.
You know, Billy Batson and the other kid whose name Freddie.
Right.
I liked that. That was nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a normal, typical family, and it's a foster family, but it's nice. They had a nice rapport.
Right.
And that I liked.
Yeah, I liked the parents. They weren't...
The foster parents.
Yeah, they weren't typical foster parents of... that you get, like where foster parents are often portrayed as mean, and,
right?
So we have a nice family situation. You know, the good people. We have his foster family, his foster brothers and sisters.
Right.
He's and the premise is that there's this wizard who's holding back, who has been. Sort of like the knight in the Holy Grail, who's been surviving for centuries on his own, guarding and holding back the 7 sins, which I thought was an interesting idea. Now, I remember as a kid watching the Shazam TV show. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
I'm old
yeah.
enough to have watched that.
I remember that.
I don't remember a lot. I remember really liking it.
Yeah.
That it was a teenage boy.
Right.
And this old guy driving around in Winnebago. It seems kind of odd now, but
Yes, it does.
I think it was his grandfather. I think.
I think so.
And then he would say Shazam, and he would transform from being this kid
To a superhero.
to a totally different person.
Right.
It was like in this one, Billy remembers who he is, whereas in that one, he was a different person.
Right, different guy.
Yeah, different personality, different memories, different everything.
Right.
He was like sort of replaced.
Right.
So that I kind of liked this. It was very much like Big.
Right.
In fact, without spoiling it yet, there's an homage to Big in this.
Right.
So you sort of get that fish out of water kid who's unexpectedly having to navigate the grown-up world
And be a superhero.
Right. I love Zach Levi. I've always enjoyed
I do
him
too.
in everything he's done since Chuck.
Yes. Me too.
And so, and you mentioned this is his second outing as a superhero in a
Correct.
movie.
Correct.
His first one was which one?
I think it was Thor. He was in the Thor movies.
Right.
And then he was killed in one of them, and I think it was Ragnarok. I'm not
Right.
sure.
He's one of the Asgards.
He's one of the Asgardians.
He's
yeah.
in Thor's posse.
Right. Exactly. He's in the Thor mythological god posse. Yes.
Yes. But this is his outing as a actual
lead
superhero. He has that quality about him that he can play like the
normal.
He's the adult who's still kid-like, adolescent-like.
In a lot of ways, he was like Chuck.
Yeah, he felt a lot like Chuck.
Yeah.
Because Chuck was a similar situation where it's this normal guy who suddenly becomes a secret agent, super spy, and has to
karate.
yeah. And he has to navigate that,
Right.
And with his sidekick buddy who knows his secret,
right.
So it's a similar thing.
It is a similar thing
to what he had to do with Chuck, and it's similarly successful. I enjoyed both.
Yes.
My impression, there was a lot of humor. This is a DC film, so it takes place in the DC universe. Which is usually gritty and dark, and
it has been.
Has been.
Yeah.
They've been lightening it up.
They have.
Aquaman was a lot lighter. Wonder Woman was lighter. And this one is very much.
I think that's the goal.
This one felt a lot like Ant-Man in that sense.
Yeah.
He's a secondary character who has. There's a lot more humor to it.
Right.
Endemic to it.
Yes.
So I enjoyed that part of it. A lot of people talk about. I've heard people say they really enjoy this movie. It's a lot of fun, and I agree. There were some. There's always in these superhero origin movies that period where they have to test out their powers. They got to figure out who, and so they do a lot of that in this. There's a long period of that.
Well, there's all that. Beginning part too, the exposition part where we have to find out what's going on, who these guys are, who's that guy, who's this guy.
It takes a while to get to the meat of it,
yeah.
right? In fact, and that's the problem with all of these superhero movies is they have to tell audiences who aren't familiar with these guys from the comic books who they are, and you have to get to know them. So that's just a burden that these movies have to carry.
Yes, it is.
Then you get into the second and third movie, which I think I've heard there's already talk of a second one.
There has to be.
Right. That will make it easier to just jump right in because now it's a character that we know.
Right. Exactly. And I think audiences will like that. And I think what I like about the current trend with these DC movies is the trend towards a more lighter, jokier, kind of fun atmosphere, rather than the the Dark Knight, Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman,
right?
Even Justice League.
Yes, it was a little heavy.
And I think these movies are lighter, and I think that's a good direction for them to go.
Right.
I really do.
I think that's one of the things that makes the Marvel movies better than the DC movies.
It has been, yes.
In fact, the fact that we're kind of jumping around between all the DC movies.
Okay.
But when they made Man of Steel heavy and dark and gritty. I mean, making Superman heavy, dark, and gritty is just a crime.
It's wrong.
It's a crime. So hopefully this signals a change in direction for them with these movies.
That's right.
So we'll
I hope
see.
it is. We'll
Yeah.
see. But I think this movie, is that kind of movie. It's that kind of fun movie. There are moments where you're like legit, like what's going to happen. And
Right.
There's some
There's some dark.
stuff. But
Yeah.
I'll say this: throughout the whole movie, never once did I think that I never felt like he was in jeopardy.
Right. Well, and the other thing is while there is violence, especially supernatural violence,
It's cartoony.
it's cartoony. There's no blood, or gore, or limbs ripped from. I mean, the monsters, the sins.
Well, that one scene at the beginning with his father. Where
We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Let's come back to that.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but there is no. There was nothing in it that was particularly. Like you would like. The monsters themselves were cartoony scary.
Yeah.
But there was no blood and gore and all that sort of stuff, apart
Right.
from perhaps what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into in a second.
Yeah.
So, any other spoiler-free bits you want to say?
I'm trying to think. Spoiler free. I don't know. It's hard to
Yeah.
it's hard to spoiler free these movies sometimes because they everything's kind of important, but
Right.
especially in the origin story.
Right.
So it's hard to talk about it generically, other than the fact that, I think, like I said at the beginning, I liked it. I just think it can be better.
Okay.
It can be a little better.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I think once this, now that they've introduced the character, I think they can
Right.
have a story that's a little bit more meaty.
Yes.
This wasn't a real meaty story.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, and the villain was cartoonish, a little bit over
I
the
like
top.
that actor though.
But Mark Strong, yeah, he's always good. He's always
Always
fun.
good. Yeah.
He chews the scenery with the
He
best of
does.
them.
He chomps it up. He's good.
All right, so let's go to the spoilers then.
All right.
and then I'll count down. After I get to one, we're going to start spoiling it, folks. Okay. So this is your warning. So you pause here, come back after you've seen the movie. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Okay.
So now we're going to spoil it. So there is a post-credit scene,
Yes.
which was a lot of fun.
Two scenes, really.
Two of them, right? So stick around to after the credits, which is so you get the first one where the bad guy. What was his name? Thad.
Right, Thaddeus.
Thad is such a bad guy, modern bad guy name. Thad.
That's right.
Sorry if there's any Thaddeus's who are called Thad out there, but I'm sorry. You've become cliche.
Apparently, you're a supervillain.
Yes. We see him interacting with a creature that we see earlier in the movie.
Right.
But we don't realize, we see it a couple times, in fact, but we don't realize its significance until the very end.
And I honestly, I missed it.
Yeah.
I missed it.
Right.
I didn't know who it was at the end until you said something, and I was like, oh, yeah, I think I saw something.
So we're in the spoiler section, so I'll just say it's the caterpillar that was in the glass jar in the lair, for lack of a better term.
We have a lair.
We have a lair. And it was the caterpillar in the glass jar that the glass jar was broken the last time they came through.
That's right.
So that's where he went. And turns out he is some sort of super
Bad guy.
He wasn't just a pet. He was in there for a reason.
Right.
And so he was obviously going to be a future.
The next villain.
Right, next one.
Yeah.
Then we have the other post-credit scene where they kind of mock Aquaman's power.
Right.
Of the fish.
They do. That was funny.
So I want to talk about the
And Superman made a
and Superman
faceless cameo.
Yes, it was not the actor.
No,
but it was the body double. I do want to talk about the villains, the seven sins.
Okay.
Because that's a very interesting choice of villains. So the premise is that this Council of Wizards has been holding back the seven sins, sort of opened up, sort of a Pandora's box sort of thing, and they've been holding back the seven sins from getting out into the world and taking over. And Shazam is the champion of good that holds them back and defeats them. And so we have lust, envy, greed, pride. What are the other two?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Anger? No.
No.
I can't believe we can't remember the seven sins.
I know.
When it's time for the quiz, I haven't studied. Yes. Envy, pride, lust, greed. Envy, pride, lust, greed.
I think we're going to have to look it up.
We'll have to look it up. But nevertheless, we have these 7 sins that are embodied here.
Right.
Now, it's interesting, they don't actually do much with them as sins. Like, they don't, each of these creatures don't really, you know, he makes a joke about lust. I thought lust would be a lot hotter.
Right. Gluttony, wrath, and sloth.
Oh, yes. I think wrath. I meant, wrath, anger.
Yeah. So pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth. Yeah.
But it's very interesting that even though they're the 7 sins, they don't look like anything particularly having to do with that sin, and they don't do things related to that sin, which,
it's disappointing.
Well, on the other hand, there's a little bit of a theological truth in that, which is sin is ugly. It's just ugly. It's just sin. It is bad. It is harmful. It hurts. And whatever name it has and whatever guise it comes under, it's still an ugly, evil monster in that sense. So I kind of appreciate them doing that. I kind of wish they had done a little more with that idea of they were just 7 generic deadly monsters.
Right.
Apart from Envy at the end. Envy was the one monster that never emerged from Thad.
Right.
But because I think we're supposed to get the idea that Envy was what was really pushing him to want Shazam's power.
Exactly.
So,
and I think that came very clear towards the end of the movie when he had to fight Envy when he called Envy out and Envy came and then there was the battle.
Well, in fact, Envy, in some ways, not the embodiment of it as one of the 7 sins, but Envy as the concept was at the root of a lot of the problems between Billy and Freddy.
That's right.
Because the Freddy's envious of Billy's superpowers, and Billy is. Well, he's wrathful at being abandoned, and he's a little bit envious of others' family. And so you can see where envy is really the enemy that they're fighting all along throughout this movie. And I kind of enjoy, I like that aspect of it, that there was a little bit of depth to it.
Yes, I agree with that. It was an interesting concept that was kind of taken away from its Christian, roots, so to speak. Because there was no mention of God.
Right.
And there was no... what I mean?
It was the Greek gods, but that was about it. Because traditionally, that's where Shazam's power
Exactly. But there was no mention of the Judeo-Christian God.
Right. We have the 7 sins from Judeo-Christian theology, but not the God.
The God from that. Right. So it seemed a little odd. It seemed a little bit... For me, I mean, and I mean, if you're a Christian, it seems like there's a little, disconnect there.
Yeah, it's true.
But it was interesting, and I think that, I think I'll be interested to see if they try to pull it off again.
Right.
With those same kind of bad guys, or if this little caterpillar bad guy is going to be something completely new and different. Right. But I think that, that the acting in this movie was good. Yeah,
I had a little trouble reconciling Billy and Shazam, Zach, Levi, and the boy Archer or something or other, who played
Archer. Was it Ash Archer?
Archer, I think it was, who played young Billy.
Yeah.
And they didn't seem alike. You
don't think so?
For me, it didn't seem. The Freddy, older, younger, felt better. But not. I don't know. It just was. I had a hard time. Plus, the kid Billy. He must be Maisie Williams' brother or something, because he totally looks like the actress from Game of Thrones, Maisie Williams. And I think I was distracted by that as well.
Maybe, yeah.
But
I guess one of the things I did like about the whole idea of Shazam being, a young character than an old character is the way he says the name,
right?
And then so like if he's in trouble and he needs to slip away, he says Shazam and he turns into Billy again and he kind of scurries away. Or when he needs the power, he's Shazam, and all of a sudden he's Shazam and he can beat the hell out of somebody. And
being Billy is one of his superpowers.
It really is, in a sense.
That ability to fade into the crowd, which he used at least once.
Exactly, and I thought that was good. I mean, I thought The adult actors that
Yeah.
played, they were good. The ones in the family, the mother and the father were good.
It was very odd that the school, there was the only adult we see in the entire school is the
Security guard.
And I'm thinking, like, the whole thing with the bullies.
Yeah.
Like, they're always pulling up out front and, like, parking on the sidewalk
Right.
partially. Like, where are the grown-ups?
Right.
Like, how? And he hits him with the car.
He hit a kid, yeah.
Like, who's
already, like, lame.
Who are the bus aides who are supposed to be
Yeah.
out there?
Like, there's
Yeah.
usually teachers out
Right.
when
Like,
kids are coming in.
I mean, obviously, we need
Or-
this for the plot.
Or
for
other
plot
parents.
reasons. Right.
Well, see, that's the thing. That was the part of the movie that I didn't think they needed all that. I didn't think they needed all that bully stuff. You know, it's like that Peter Parker. You know,
It's all that effort to make it
Stuff.
relevant.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we need to make the movie more than just about superheroes fighting supervillains. We also need to make it relevant about bullying and standing up for yourself.
Don't
And I'm
you
like,
don't you think that's there for kids too? Like
That's what I mean, yeah.
yeah.
it's there to be a message for kids about standing up against bullies and
Right.
stuff. And that's, I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but it just,
It was a big chunk of the movie.
yeah.
Those kids, the bully kids, were, and they ended up being in the final.
Right. Well, in the
end
final
scene.
battle, and
Yeah.
they get saved by the kid that they were bullying because
Right.
you knew exactly as soon as you see them in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know exactly what's going to happen. So it felt
Exactly.
a little predictable. In
It
that
was.
sense. I'd rather that wasn't there.
I just don't think they needed that storyline.
Yeah, exactly. I think it would. I think that it was an extra storyline that kind of just took up time.
Yeah, it would have been a better. It would have been, I think, a better movie, but it also would have been a tighter movie.
Yeah.
If they had left that out.
I did like Santa.
Yeah, Santa. Well, Santa just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time every time one of those bad guys showed up. So
That was pretty funny.
And then he has this scene towards the end where he grabs the microphone away from a reporter and starts like cussing and swearing and then beeping it out on TV. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. So very much a family. It's about a theme about family. In fact, that becomes Shazam's tagline: "Is you're not a hero until you have a family."
Yeah. And brings out all the other characters as superheroes.
Right.
Which was interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember that from the old show.
No, I don't either.
That
And
might
I
have been
wonder
the comic books.
I wonder if they're gonna do that again. Like, do those kids keep their Shazam powers?
I think they're all Shazam. Yeah, now.
I mean, wouldn't they be?
I would think so, like just like him.
I know.
Because it was a council of 7 wizards.
That's
and
right.
So now there's
7.
6 of them. There's now room for someone else to come along.
Ooh, another wizard.
Yes, it'll be.
Except he broke the staff.
Well, that's true. They'll have another way to do it because in the next movie, I'm predicting right now, it'll be Billy's girlfriend, the girl that Billy likes.
Ah, there you go. I almost thought they were going to put him and Mary together. The
Right. She's a little older, but
the older.
yeah. I mean, he's 14, she's 18.
Yeah.
She's going to college.
Well, 17. probably.
17 or yeah, but she's going to college. So
Maybe. Spoiler, we don't know.
yeah, what was in the letter?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing. They kind of left that.
Yeah, they did.
I thought that was weird. Like, was it? Oh,
So important.
Right.
And it was so important that they put a separate scene
right.
of her like being upset that she got in.
She was so upset that she almost walked into traffic and died.
Right.
Like, let's be clear here. This letter was enough that almost killed her.
Right.
So what's in the letter? I mean, that's sort of important.
Right.
And
You would think.
Yeah, I thought that was very odd.
They just let it drop.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they cut it for time, which
Maybe.
like again, they could have cut something else.
Could have cut out some of the bully stuff.
Yeah.
If they really wanted to cut for time. But
I thought they were going to go with, she got into the Caltech,
Right.
which means now she's going to have to leave her foster home and she doesn't want to leave them.
I think that's the kind of where they were going with it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, but they kind of had to drop because like real stuff started happening, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think we'll see in the next movie.
One of the things I thought was interesting is like in Marvel, all the locations are real places: New York, California, like all real. Washington D.C.
Yeah.
DC, it's always like fictional.
Typically.
Yeah, typically, Metropolis,
Gotham,
Central City.
Yep.
But this is in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that, and I don't know the comics, so I don't know for sure.
Right.
But I'm curious that choice of making Philadelphia a key aspect of
The only thing I can think of is it's the city of brotherly love and
right brothers,
family. That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, that could be it.
Or I could be reading too much into it.
right. But I thought that was interesting that these.
Yeah, but it was. You're right. They never really go for real places, and that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I never. Until you just mentioned it, I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, it's in Philadelphia. All right.
Yeah.
They even go onto the iconic steps of the museum where Rocky...
We don't see the Rocky statue.
No, we don't.
Probably because it's owned by some studios,
right.
the Image.
And it's not theirs.
Yeah, it's not Warner. I forget who does that one. But we do see the William Penn statue.
Yes, we do.
And the love sculpture.
Yes.
That it gets destroyed.
Yeah, that was funny.
By the head of William Penn.
That was a funny... I didn't realize how big that thing was.
That was, yeah, no kidding. That's pretty big. That's a
pretty big statue.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I really enjoyed was that whole scene where the supervillain is monologuing.
Yes.
He's like, "What? I can't. You're like a mile away. I can't hear you.
There's cars and traffic, and I'm a mile away."
And he's just going on and on and on. The typical over the top.
Totally monologuing, like from
Incredibles.
Incredibles, yeah. That was funny.
That was good.
So there was a lot of funny stuff in this movie. It's that's what I liked about it. I'm kind of getting tired of the dark hero.
Right.
I'm really tired of Batman being dark, and I'm really extremely tired of Superman being dark. There's no need for it,
right.
And that should stop.
I feel like that they've decided to kind of pull back from that, which is good. That's what we were saying before.
Yeah, I think they took away some of the directors that like Singer and Noel, and so that vision of the universe is kind of going away, I think.
Right, and that'll be good because this like fighting villains, all the action, it's very heavy.
It is.
You need to lighten it up a little bit as you go along. I mean, like we said, their stories are dark. They're orphans.
Right.
Bad things are happening, so it needs to be lighter. I mean,
I think so.
You think of like even of the Marvel movies, the ones that weren't as good were the heavy ones, like Thor: Dark World, literally in the title.
Dark World. It wasn't a really good movie.
Right, exactly. So
Ragnarok was funny, and I really liked it.
Oh yeah, Oh well. Taika Waititi is just hysterical. I was a little worried when I heard that he was directing that, but it turned out to be really good. And now he's doing some Star Wars, the new Mandalorian series, which is good. But that's another episode.
That's another podcast or something.
Yes. So anything else we want to say about Shazam?
I don't think so. I think it's worth seeing. It's definitely worth seeing.
Yes, I would recommend it.
I recommend it. I think that there's pluses and minuses. It can be
perfect movie.
Not perfect. It's a little uneven, but I think you'll enjoy it. I enjoyed it. Yeah. And it kind of brought me back a little bit back to that 70s TV show stuff that was percolating in my mind, which I liked. And if you were a fan of that show,
if you're an old man
like us, or maybe an older lady,
yes, or a young person who discovered it online,
you'll like it. You'll like that kind of connection. And I just think Shazam is. I think this is a good secondary hero for them.
So before we finish, I want to say we'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create Coffee and Cinema. And today we're thanking Kevin G, Colin R, Evan S, Marika D, and Dwayne A. Through their generous donations at sqpn.com/give, they make it possible for us to continue Coffee and Cinema and all the shows we do at StarQuest. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. So remember to like the Secrets of Movies and TV Shows on Facebook. That's what this podcast is part of. That podcast series. This is sort of a sub-podcast. I haven't figured out the right terminology, but that's what it is. So remember to like this once we post it on Facebook and share it with friends and help us get the word out about our podcasts. And you all have done such a great job of that in the past, and we really do appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe to the Secrets of Movies and TV Shows in iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, your favorite podcast app, or on YouTube. We should hit the bell to get notifications. We've had some recent fun episodes of the show. We've recently did Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. You're going to hear next week, you're going to hear, if everything goes well, you're going to hear The Godfather. We're going to talk about I hear it's a good movie.
Oh, man.
I've only just seen it for the first time. Yes, Domenico
Yeah.
Bettinelli has seen The Godfather for the first time.
Shocking,
at
really.
the age of 50. So that's it from us. What did you think of Shazam? If you had a chance to see it, let us know by visiting sqpn.com/secrets or the StarQuest Facebook page. Leave us some feedback there or send us an email to secrets@sqpn.com. Until next time, Father Chip Hines, thank you for joining me for Coffee and Cinema.
Thanks, Tom. Be good, everybody.
And once again, I'm Dom Bettinelli. Thank you for listening to the Secrets of Movies and TV Shows on StarQuest.